What is going on, gamers? Aevatrex here, and today I'm going to be showing you some last Battlefield footage from a few days ago. But before we get into the footage, I just want to let you guys know, for those that haven't already heard the news, is that this new shard hero is going to be called Phantom King, and also that it is going to cost 20,000 shards, so pretty much the same as Siren. Now, is it going to be a lot more useful than Siren? It definitely is looking like he will be. But from the gameplay that I have seen so far, they're usually really low level. So I want to get my hands on a decently leveled one, at least skill level 5 and up. That way I can actually test him out and take him through a few game modes and see exactly what game modes he would actually be really good at. But from what the early things that I have seen, it does look like that he's going to be very useful. So if any of you have a decent account with him, let me know on line chat. Line ID is Aevatrex. Now let's go into this lost battlefield. Now, when I refresh and I see an Ares, I usually like to counter with my own Ares team due to the fact that I also have Dread Drake and I also have CK on there. So because of that, my probability of winning against another Ares is very high. Another thing that you can use to counter Ares is also this team right here. Not only because it's a very powerful and beefy team, it takes a lot to take it down, but Valentina is a direct hard counter to an Ares. Now, if you notice here, I'm going up against a Skull Knight that has Corrode, and that Corrode basically lowers your energy, and that's really rough to go up against. I've run into a few Skull Knights that have that Corrode talent, and it is really hard to counter. The only good thing that happened here is that my Warlock does have Garuda, so it kind of does silence him just enough for my Golem to proc there at the end and make sure that we get back up to health. But without that, it wasn't looking very good for us. Now the next one, I see that the first thing that I see is Valentina. So I know not to use my Ares team right off the bat. This is why I change. And then the reason I went with that team is because I knew that he was going to have Skull Knight as well. And Skull Knight is countered really good by Arctica. So when I saw this right here, I was like, okay, this is looking bad because you got Golem and Skull Knight. But because Arctica takes off the damage mitigation from Skull Knight, it turns out to be an easier win. So one of the reasons why I put Arctica on that team is because that team was really weak versus Skull Knight. So Arctica pretty much offsets it. And then this one is a pretty easy win because there's nothing to stop my Ares and Pumpkin Duke from proccing there. So it ends up being a pretty easy one. Now this next fight, I see SDS. I see the first thing is a Minotaur. So right away I know that there has to be an Ares on that team. And the reason I used this team is because that I knew that I wasn't going to win. So I had a better chance to win the other two. I didn't want to waste a really good team against this one. And I just kind of try to attack his next few teams. So on this one, I pretty much run into the same thing. Skull Knight and a Golem. But the positive thing here is that once that Golem is shut down, so is the Skull Knight. And then after that is a pretty easy win. Now it basically comes down to our very last teams. Now he has an Atlantic core and I have a Golem, so that pretty much offsets it. The only bad thing is that Arctica can shut down my Skull Knight, and that can be a problem. But once I see that Arctica was down for the count, I pretty much knew that it was over from there. Let's go ahead and see it. There we go. So that was a pretty close matchup. I do that a few times. I try to set my weakest team versus their strongest. That way I know what I'm up against. And then I refresh here and I actually get somebody that has more points than me. Usually if I refresh, I get somebody lower. I don't know why. So again, Ares versus Ares team. His Ares dies even before anybody gets there. That's a lot of damage from Harpy Queen, CK, Dread Drake, and then my Ares. It's a lot of damage. Now on this one, it's a tough team whenever you see a Trentar, but because that was on defense, he doesn't revive anybody. Now if that was him attacking me with that Trentar, it might have turned differently just because that Trentar would have revived all his heroes. But after that, it was pretty much an easy win from there. And then we take it and we take the points. But like I was mentioning, if you have a Phantom King, let me know. And thank you guys for watching. And until later. Bye.